is going to be a live recording that people can watch in the Facebook group. And as a matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and, let's see, give people an opportunity to connect with us on Facebook too. So let me share this to the Abundant Women Wellnesspreneur group. And let's give Facebook a chance to kind of do its thing, and then we will hop back over to that other page so that we can get started. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. All right, filling programs made easy. Okay, great. I'm gonna have to tell my husband to be quiet. I can hear him in the back, chasing the cat or doing something. All righty. Let's see, Lisa. There she is. Hey, Lisa. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay, we are going to dive right in. I've got lots and lots and lots and lots of information to share with you guys. This is Filling Programs Made Easy, how to fill your group and one-on-one programs in a heart-centered, high-touch, low-tech way. This is about as techy as you guys are going to ever see me get, which is connecting Zoom to Facebook. I am not a huge fan of lots and lots of tech. I don't do funnels. I don't do Facebook ads. I don't do all the crazy tech stuff that is out there to try to fill my programs. And I don't love jumping on discovery calls either. So this is awesome. If you are a health coach, if you are a life coach, if you are a wellness practitioner that wants to learn how to build and grow a six-figure practice with more of a heart-centered, low-tech way, but a high-touch way, without having to book a gazillion discovery calls or feel like you've got to persuade or convince or kind of sell somebody on you, then you guys are at the right place. I am going to be teaching you my best stuff. Filling programs made easy is one of the things that I was hearing that a lot of my clients wanted. They were seeing me fill my programs, not only my group programs, but my one-on-one spots. And I can confidently say that the program that I'm going to teach you over the next 5 days, actually the next 4 days, plus we're going to have a bonus Q&A so that I can go over all of the information and kind of answer any questions that you have about what I do. It absolutely positively works. As a matter of fact, I am almost completely booked for my one-on-one spots in 2020. I have 2 spots left. My mastermind is almost completely filled. My Activate Abundance group program is completely filled. And I do have a few spaces left for Launch Well, which I will be talking about maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, and kind of letting you know a little bit more about that program. But all of this was done in a very heart-centered, high-touch, low-tech way without having to jump on a gazillion discovery calls. So if that sounds good to you guys, let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you're watching me from Facebook. Type in the chat here if you're here, like yes, just say yes, this is something that I definitely want to learn. Kind of let me know where you guys are at.
Yes.
Yeah, say yes, thumbs up, awesome. Yeah. So guys, this was a game changer for me in my practice, and I'm so excited to teach you guys how to do it too. So what you're looking at on my screen is actually a workbook that I created for you. So if you're here, that means that you've already gotten the information. Hey, Trisha, how are you? Good to see you. That means that you guys are at the right place, which means you should have already gotten this workbook. If you don't have the workbook, then just private message me or let me know and I will pop it back over to you. If you're watching from Facebook in the Abundant Women Wellnesspreneur group and you want this workbook, then make sure that you go fill out the registration page, because on that registration page, as soon as you sign up for this program, it will automatically send you the workbook. So would love you to have all of this juicy stuff. So I love to start with kind of ways to help everybody get quick results. So my intention with doing a Facebook Live here, my intention with actually teaching a training, whether I teach a masterclass or whether I do just a quick Facebook Live in Abundant Women Wellnesspreneurs, is to help you get quick results. Help you actually create momentum in your business, in your practice, with either your strategy or systems or mindset or some way, shape, and form that I can help you actually create that momentum so that you can create the income and make the impact that you want to make. So the first step is either have this workbook pulled up for you, print it out if you can, that way you can make notes on it. If not, don't worry about it. And write out one question that you would like me to answer for you on day 5. This is when we're going to do the bonus Q&A. This is where I really get to dive in after I've kind of shared with you my process. How do I feel my group programs? How do I feel my one-on-one programs? What are some of the strategies that I use? What is the signature framework that I use that actually helps my clients become raving fans? They're also my dream clients. The clients that I get to work with are clients that I absolutely love. And I want to teach you guys how to do this too. So any questions that you have along the way, write them down and I will absolutely be answering those. And then I want you to be able to apply what you learned to get these quick results. So at the end of this class, at the end of the masterclass, I want you to be able to choose one action step that you're going to take within the 24 hours. And this is why. Information is great. And we know as health coaches, life coaches, wellness practitioners, that information does not equal transformation. So if we don't actually take the information that we're learning and put it into action and take the steps that we need to take in order to be successful, in order to actually fill our programs, then nothing happens. So there's this formula that, in order to have a successful practice equals making the offers and creating the invitations. So that's so super important. That is just a very simple formula of a very simple action step that we need to take. And so I'm going to teach you how you can create those invitations, make those offers in a way that feels more authentic to who you are, feels really high heart centered, and done in a way that leaves your client feeling like, oh my gosh, that was the best value that I got from her, and excited about wanting to work more with you. So how does that sound? Does that sound exciting? Something that you think is going to like really connect with your heart and something that you want to do? Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Again, if you're on Facebook, give me a heart. Let me know that this is something that you want. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. Each day, we're going to focus on a different part. And so this is a 4-part program, but we're going to have 5 days of it because day 5 is going to be the bonus class. But the first part, what I'm going to cover with you tonight, is what really are the 4 ways to fill your programs. There really are 4 main ways that you can fill your programs. I'm going to teach you the 4 ways that I use on a consistent basis, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Part 2, what we're going to dive in tomorrow night is know your unique advantage and your ideal client. And this is so super important. Those of you that are joining me that have been on some of my trainings before know that this is a point that I talk a lot about because this is where I see a lot of coaches falling through the cracks. They speak in more generalized terms. They speak in many of the health terms that we've learned from HCI, but it's not specific to us as a coach, meaning we don't speak about our unique advantage, and it's not specific to our ideal client, meaning we're not speaking to the transformation that she actually wants to have. So super duper important that we get clear on what is your unique advantage, what makes you different than anybody else there out on the market. And we're going to dive into that tomorrow night. Part 3, where you are going to serve your community with a nurture event. I'm going to teach you how to do this inside of and it's a Facebook group. So many of you know me, have seen me, have built a relationship with me in Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs. And so part 3, we're going to talk all about what is a nurture event, what is a Facebook group, what's the difference between a Facebook group and a Facebook page, and why is it that we want to do these nurture events in the first place. And then part 4, we're going to get all into collaborations, one of my favorite things. I love collaborations. It's actually how I built my 6-figure practice as a health coach. So again, for those of you that don't know, I have a background as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I started my wellness practice as a nutritional therapy practitioner before I even went through HCI, and I taught a 6-week wellness program. I collaborated with doctors, with health practitioners, with acupuncturists, with integrative doctors, with naturopaths, with digestive health specialists, with surgeons. Like, there are a lot of doctors in my local community that I collaborated with. And so we are going to dive into that juicy topic on Thursday, all about collaborations made easy. But I'm also going to take this even one step further. It's not going to just be about collaborations with doctors, although I'm absolutely going to spend probably about 80% of the time on that. I'm also going to talk about collaborations that we get to do and make with each other. So what type of collaborations could you even create within your own Facebook communities, within your tribes, if you are involved in a mastermind, how could you collaborate with that? How could you collaborate with other health coaches, or maybe even other wellness practitioners that serve your ideal client, but maybe they serve it in just a little bit of a different way? So this is jam-packed. This training is jam-packed. I always strive to over-deliver because I want to make sure that you guys are getting my best stuff. Because if you get my best stuff for free, then you know that what I have to offer you on the other side is actually going to take you even that next step. And this is what I want to teach you, because this is what you are going to be doing with your clients. You don't necessarily have to do a Zoom or a 5-day training by any stretch, but what you absolutely want to be doing is building know, like, trust, and heart-centered relationships. And this was, again, I know I spoke a little bit earlier about this being a game changer for me. This absolutely is what the game changer was for me. I spent probably the very first year as a nutritional therapy practitioner with one client. It wasn't until I began to learn how to build relationships and collaborate and really do this from a heart-centered place instead of trying to sell somebody on my program, or instead of just speaking about my program, that I learned how to speak into what is the transformation that my client is going to get, how can I serve her instead of sell her, and how can I show up in a way that she's getting, bar none, so much value, like so much value. So again, I've had a lot of people recently, actually just within this past week, ask me, should I share my best stuff? And my answer to that is absolutely, always, always, always share your best stuff. And here's why. If you don't share your best stuff, then your person is going to have a mediocre experience of you, right? Like, why would you want to work with you if you're not really giving her high value? We want to give our clients high, high, high value so that they're getting quick results, they're creating momentum in their practice, so that then they're like, heck yeah, I love what Diane is teaching me. I love what Ricky is teaching me. I love what Lisa and Trish are teaching me. And so I really, it makes a difference to me. I can see how it would pertain to my life and my health and the transformation that I want. And if they're giving me all this juicy stuff for free, I can only imagine the value that I'm going to get when I actually work with her in her program. So can you guys see why this is really valuable, that you share your best content, you share your best stuff? Yeah, because if we don't really share our best stuff, then why would anybody really want to work with us if we're just giving them like mediocre stuff? If we're holding back for fear that if we share our best stuff, they might want to work with us, that's actually a scarcity mindset. And so what I want you guys to see if you could do is kind of flip that around and say, well, if I share my best stuff, that is actually going to encourage my client to have a greater experience, to have greater value, and therefore want to work with me in another way, shape, or form, whether that's in a one-on-one experience, whether that's in a group experience, or whether that is just continuing to build a relationship in your online community. All right. So we are going to dive in, and I want to share with you that one of the things that I do with all of my programs, I'm going to teach you guys today my specific framework. It's called the Launch Well Framework, and it is comprised of 4 different pillars. So frameworks are really a really simple way that you can teach your clients what are the steps that they're going to take, and typically the steps are anywhere from 3 to 7 steps. I've seen 10 steps. That seems a little bit too much. If I was a client, I'm like, anything after 5 or 6 steps for me, and I'm like, that's a little bit too complicated. I want to keep it really, really simple. And so my framework and what I teach is, and this is the Launch Well framework. In the Abundance Basics group, what I teach in Activate Abundance is the Abundance Basics framework. But the framework that I'm going to teach you today is actually the Launch Well framework. And I have 4 core pillars. And I actually use these 4 core pillars in Activate Abundance as well. But the core pillar number one is I always want to provide a very high touch, low tech experience. So again, I want to keep it as intimate as possible. And with any of my programs, I always have a cap. I always have a limit, because for me, I want to make sure that my client has access to me, not just a downloadable video that they can watch, but really have access to me. And I can only do that and show up in a powerful way that delivers high value if I cap it. So for example, the Launch Well program that starts in January is going to have a cap at 15 people. And that's a 90-day program, and I'll talk about that later. I'm not going to get into that tonight. The Activate Abundance class, some of you guys are in that program that starts in January. That's capped at 10. That's because I want to make sure that everybody has access specifically to me live so that I can serve them really valuably. So my core pillar is give my clients a very high touch, low tech experience. And again, it's low tech, not no tech. So there is going to be a little bit of tech involved, but it's very low tech. It's simple, like having people join me in Zoom. That's really as tech as it's going to get. We also have a couple systems that I teach, which is a basic email marketing system. The other low tech things that we need to have going on are going to be a way for people to actually book an appointment with us and a way for us to take money. So there's really three main systems that we need to have. We need to have a marketing system. We need to have a system where we're actually taking or booking appointments, and we need to have a system, financial system. How are we actually going to take the payment so that we can actually enjoy a six-figure practice? Core pillar number two, I've already talked about this, but this is give value and momentum to my audience. So regardless of whether you are currently working with me or not, if you're here, I want to give you value, and I want to give you momentum, and I want to make sure that you are able to take what it is that I'm teaching you and start and apply and implement into your practice. So super important. And that is something that I absolutely do. As a matter of fact, my goal is to over deliver in all of my programs. So whatever I say I'm going to give you, you absolutely get. And I'm always throwing in extra bonuses, extra trainings, extra one-on-one calls, because I want to make sure that my clients are getting value and they have momentum so that they can take their practice to the next level. Core pillar number three for me is be willing to course correct. And so this was something that I had to learn as a recovering perfectionist. Anybody else here that's a recovering perfectionist? Okay, so yeah, be willing to course correct. So what I teach is it's totally okay. Like building and growing a business really is an experiment. And as entrepreneurs, we need to be willing to try something, to commit, even if we don't know how, and then course correct if it's not going in the way that we want it to. That's totally okay. That is what entrepreneurs do. Think about Thomas Edison. He kind of popped into my head right now. So I actually just got back from a trip to Asheville. My husband surprised me and took me up to the mountains for my birthday as an early birthday present. It's not for a couple weeks, but this is why it was such a great surprise. And we went up to this beautiful, beautiful hotel in the mountains. It's called the Grove Park Inn. It is where Ford and Edison and all these other inventors and entrepreneurs actually used to go up to have like this mountain getaway. And if you think about Thomas Edison, he failed so many times, right? He didn't just create the light bulb on the first time. He had to create over and over and over and over and over again. And so we too, as entrepreneurs, need to be willing to course correct. And so what that means is being willing to commit, being willing to say yes, being willing to just take that next step, and then course correct. If it doesn't work, that's totally okay. At least it's feedback where we can actually say, oh, you know what, that really didn't land. Let me try and do it another way. And that is actually one thing that I really enjoy now as an entrepreneur, because that means that I don't have to get everything perfect. You might actually find a spelling mistake in this workbook. And if you do, that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. I will find it at some point and fix it. So when I use it again, it's there. But it's okay to be willing to course correct. And then pillar number 4 is be authentic and be available. So important. I want to make sure that when I'm teaching, when I'm working with my clients, that they know that I've got their back, number 1. They know that I'm fully transparent, that whatever question they ask me, I'm absolutely going to answer it in an authentic way. And I want to be available to my clients. So what does that look like? Being available means that I'm totally available if somebody Facebook messages me. Maybe that if you're not a client of mine and you Facebook message me, I will still absolutely interact with you, but I might not be able to speak into and solve whatever problem it is that you're asking me if I don't have history. So I actually might invite you to jump on a call with me because I don't want to give you the wrong information, but I absolutely am available. I'm authentic, I'm available. I'm also available via an app called Voxer. Lisa, you know that one. Lisa and I have been able to Voxer back and forth for several weeks now. And she is in my Activate Abundance group. And I just want to be available. So you've got access to me on the daily. And that's something that you may want to do with your client or not. Totally up to you. Whatever that is, you definitely want to create boundaries around that. That doesn't mean that you need to be available 24/7, but that is another way that you can create relationships, create know, like, trust, create exceptional value, and over deliver to your clients because they know that you will get back to them. Yeah. Lisa, can you come off mute just for a minute and talk about your experience with Voxer? I know that this was your first time with Voxer, with you and me, I think. How has that been for you?
Let me unmute myself first. Hi guys, how are you? Voxer actually has been amazing for me. I didn't even know such a thing existed, but I will tell you that it is the next best thing. If you really want to get a hold of Chris, download that Voxer app immediately. Chris, out of the goodness and kindness of her heart to show up and be authentic and be available, she was working with me over the weekend on Voxer, and that's not something that she normally does. And I truly am grateful for her to step in and do that. So
yeah,
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, we get to decide, right? We're the CEOs of our practice. And so Voxer is something that I love. And if I've got time, absolutely, I'm going to listen to what's going on with my clients and get back with them. That's one of the reasons why I gave you guys access to me, the clients that are working with me, is because I want to do that. If I don't have the time, then I won't. But I get to choose, right? So even though it's Sunday or even though it's a weekend, even though I was up in the mountains today, I was Voxering some of my groups. And how awesome is that I get to do that, right? How awesome is that we get to choose and have this amazing life where I get to actually go up to the mountains and have a glass of champagne and actually Voxer the client. Like, so cool, right? So I love Voxer, and thank you, Lisa. I'm glad it's working because it is something that I found valuable for me. I used it with my coach. I still use it with the coach that I work with. And that was one of the selling points that made sure that I wanted to make sure that that was available for all of my clients as well. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Any questions before I move on? Facebook land, I can't see your comments. So if you do have any questions, let me know, put them in the comments, and I promise I will circle around and get back to you guys. Okay. All right, so part one are the 4 different ways to fill your groups or programs. And so we are going to dive into in-person workshops, online nurture events, collaborations with doctors and health practitioners, and also reaching out personally by building relationships. So these are the 4 ways that I use consistently to fill my groups or to fill my programs. Now, when I first started at the very, very beginning of my practice, the way that I filled my groups and my one-on-one was all through in-person workshops and collaborations. So I want to start there because this is really, really valuable. Many of you that went through HCI have the Sugar Talk. And so this is one place where you could actually deliver value by doing, and instead of calling it a talk, I really prefer to call it a workshop. And the reason why is because when I call it a talk, when I think of it from a client perspective, that just means that someone's going to be talking to me or talking at me. But when I hear workshop, that makes me feel like I'm actually going to walk away with value. So I always name whatever it is that I'm doing a workshop. An in-person workshop would be someplace where I show up and I deliver anywhere from a 1 hour to a 3-hour experience for my clients. And I'll give you an example. So last spring, I've done several of these, but I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. I'll give you several different examples that I've used that have worked really, really well. Last spring, I actually gave a 3-hour workshop at a retreat center about an hour north of here called the Well of Mercy. And it was all about self-care. It was called The Secret Sauce for Women Who Lead. And it was how we could actually take care of ourselves and what were the things that we need to do to stay out of stress and to make sure that we were honoring boundaries, that we were feeding ourselves so that we could actually be nourished and fill ourselves up with energy. And I took them through 6 different steps that helped them really get clear and have an experience about what it would look like in their own life. We had 15 people show up to the workshop. It was totally based on generosity. I didn't get paid for this one. I absolutely did this on a donation basis back to the Well of Mercy because it is a retreat center that I've been going to for the past 20 years. And as in exchange, they just allowed me to come up and have a couple extra nights for free, which was totally win-win. So generosity is another pillar, I guess, that I could put in here if I went for number 5, would be generous. Be generous with your time, be generous with your information. That's kind of like sharing your best stuff. But in-person workshops are really wonderful because it allows you to have a direct experience with people very, very quickly. We have a much more intimate experience when we're with people in person than we do online, right? So even though you guys can see me now, we don't really have this energetic experience where we're actually sitting across from each other, talking, and having really more of an intimate conversation. This in live or online nurture event, which we get into next, is actually going to be the second best way, or the second, I don't want to say second best way because I primarily use online nurture events now more than I even do in-person workshops. But I really want to have connection and intimacy with my clients. So in-person workshops is where I started. So I did a workshop with the Well of Mercy I invited them into a complimentary session with me, and then they enrolled in one of my group programs or my one-on-one program. From a group program, then they were moving into my 90-day program. Another way that this would look like for a workshop is I was invited, this one was a paid gig, I was invited to speak at a local hospital for the doctors and for the nurses and the staff there. It was put on by the Integrative, what's the word I'm looking for? Holistic Nurse Practitioner Association. So they wanted to put this on and they are part of the hospital. It was part of Atrium Health. And so I did 2 45-minute sessions where we talked about eating for energy. That was the topic that they came to me for. They said, can you please talk about eating for energy? And again, with my background as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, that was awesome. So in-person workshops do a couple things. They build relationships, but not only with potential clients. They also build relationships with people that you can collaborate with. And so by the time I left, I had several doctors come up to me and ask me for more information and how they could get in touch with me. And I had a couple nursing students that asked me how they could get in touch with me as well. Why is that important? It's important that we build collaborations with people that are local to us, because they are also going to be the ones that can sing our praises to other peers or their clients too. So I'm going to dive into another kind of story on how this worked as an in-person experience, in-person workshop, and kind of it's kind of on the collaboration side, but I think you guys will get what I mean. So the woman who contacted me to come do the speaking gig, and by the way, for 2 45-minute workshops, they paid me $500, not too shabby. This woman who invited me, who is a holistic nurse practitioner, actually went through my 6-week wellness program. So she went through my 6-week wellness program as a client because of the results that she got, because of the relationship that we developed, because of the experience and the value that she took away from that program. She shared my name with other doctors that she actually worked in the hospital with. So she shared my name with a digestive health associate doctor. He contacted me. I didn't contact him. He came to me and said, hey, Chris, I've heard great things about you. Would you come in and talk to my staff of 8 doctors? And I was like, holy crap, sure. Like, at first I was like, I'm only a functional nutritional therapy. Like, I'm not the doctor. And got this digestive health associate asking me to come and share my program. So I went in and I spoke with those 8 doctors, and they were absolutely 100% on board and said, you've got something that we need. You are filling a gap that we don't have time to educate our clients with. And that was kind of when the light bulb moment went on. And that was kind of my first inspiration to start to reach out to more doctors and health practitioners because of the feedback that I was getting from doctors. I was hearing from them, you have what we need. You have something that we absolutely don't have time to educate our clients on that they desperately need. They are asking us what to eat. We are telling them eat real food. And that was the gist of it. Or they're saying, what should we eat? And we're just giving them a regular handout. Here's the Mediterranean diet. Here's this. It wasn't enough to actually help the client, educate the client on how to go from A to Z on what that looked like. And so my 6-week wellness program actually provided the steps for them in a way that spoke really well, not only to the doctors, but it helped the clients. So in-person workshops help you build those collaborations. They help you build know, like, trust in your community. They help you build know, like, trust with your clients. Your clients then go through your program, and they actually can become the ones that are singing your praises as well. Like this woman who went through my program, and now she's actually sharing my name with other doctors, oncology doctors, and these other doctors at the hospital. And I did that 4 years ago, and it's still happening. So even though I don't do a lot of health coaching anymore, my jam now is to help you as coaches, life coaches, nutritional therapy practitioners, functional nutritional therapy practitioners, wellness practitioners. My jam now is helping you build and grow your practice, because I was able to crack the code on doing that for my own. And I have had so many people ask me how I did it, that this was just kind of like the natural next step. Okay, so any question about, yes, Diane.
Sorry, thank you.
No, you're right.
I have a few questions. One question is, when you first started out doing in-person workshops, you've probably made a name for yourself now, which is why I say when you first started out.
Yeah,
and
I
you
did.
were teaching,
nobody knew me from, yeah.
So teaching potential clients, the lay people, about what would you say about how many clients would you get from each workshop?
Yeah, so it really depended on the workshop. Some workshops were more than others. It depended on how many people actually showed up. I had, 10 people show up at a workshop, and typically a rule of thumb is about 30% of the people that are going to join are going to enroll with you.
Okay.
I had 10 people show up, and about 30% of the people actually joined a paid program. More of them actually hopped on a phone with me, but about 30% of them actually converted into paid clients.
Okay.
And on the other hand, that would go true. I had one program, one workshop where only 3 people came. One of them was a client that I knew, and she brought her parents. So out of the 3 people, she signed up. So that 30% helped to be true. And she actually went right into a 90-day program with me. So
wow.
For 2 hours, that brought in close to $3,000.
Yeah.
So in-person workshops really make a difference. What made the difference about that workshop was that even though she had an experience of me, she knew what I was saying, she already believed in. Her parents were there. They wanted to learn as well. And because of the information and the value that I offered in that workshop, they actually invested in the program for their daughter. So they actually purchased it for her.
Nice.
Yeah.
Another question that I have is, when you're speaking with lay people, but particularly with clinicians, where you're looking for collaborative relationships, or maybe you're providing information to them about things that can benefit them in their practice, just as people. Starting out in coaching, I have my nursing background, but I don't have a ton of coaching or dietary or fitness or any other, specialized knowledge. So a lot of what I'm doing is pulling from my BHC materials,
Mhm.
or educating myself, reading books, articles, journals. Did you find yourself doing the same kind of thing where you were kind of beefing up your BHC knowledge with additional content? And
Um,
whatever
yeah,
you did you provide citations in any way for them?
okay, that's a great question. So when I first started, this was before I actually went through HCI. So when I started as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner, I took the information that I had learned from NTA, which was the Nutritional Therapy Association. That is where I got my certification as a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. What I ended up doing, and so I used that information as my program, but what I found is I needed to tweak it. So after I went through BHC, I actually added more of the lifestyle components into that 6-week program. That 6-week program is now part of my Launch Well program. So people that join the Launch Well program that work with me on that, they actually get an entire 6-week program that's put together for them. And it is the exact thing that I used, what was the nutritional information that I used, as well as the lifestyle information. So it was a combination of both my learning from NTA and my learning from HCI.
Okay.
Yes, and so I created that together. Yes, I added some citations on more of the controversial things. So, when people would ask me about saturated fats, they were going to, I would definitely create links back to many different things that they could read for themselves. What I found though in taking my, and I have to say that at first it was a little daunting because who I was working with were both a combination of lay people, but also doctors. I had chiropractors, I had dentists, I had doctors. I had a family doctor who had been in practice for close to 40 years go through this program and be like, holy cow, I never learned this.
Really? Wow.
So I'm not daunted anymore when I speak with doctors because I know that they don't have the extent of the information that I have as far as habit change and the nutritional information on the back end that I learned from NTA. But really, I'm not trying to diagnose or cure anybody either. So I'm a partner with them, right? Which leads me back into collaboration. So we'll just skip online nurture events for a minute and talk about collaboration since that was the question. And I always talk to them in a way where they know that I'm their partner. I'm not trying to tell their client that they shouldn't do something that the doctor is telling them to do. I am merely providing additional information that the doctor doesn't have time to educate their client with, such as why is it important to eat whole, real, nutrient-dense foods? How do we get off sugar and, start eating in a way that is fueling our body for energy so that we lower inflammation and lower the amount of inflammatory foods in our body? How can we even tell what that looks like? So it's not that I am trying to diagnose or cure or put myself out to be a naturopathic doctor in any way, shape, or form. It's merely taking the information that I have and letting them know. And I've actually taken my program in and I've sat down. I took one chiropractor out to lunch to Panera and we sat down and I said, this is my program. This is what I do on week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. And I absolutely gift it to them if they want to be a part of it. I'm like, I would love for you to go through the program for free so that you can see what it is.
Did you review the presentation like the first time that you were going to do it? Did you review it with somebody for like some clinician feedback or like what they thought if it was useful or not?
I did not. That was
Okay,
not.
because I feel like you have like one chance to, like that first impression.
You know what? I didn't feel like I needed that because I
Okay.
felt like the training that I had was so much more effective because I already knew that. Not that nurses don't know. You guys absolutely do. I know that you and Ricky have a nursing background. You guys absolutely had a lot of information, a lot of training. It was just in a different way. It wasn't in the realm of habit change. It wasn't in the realm of specific, nutrition. That's probably why you guys went through BHC or HCI, was to even get more information on how do we create habit change? How do we coach in the health aspects? And so really what I see myself as is an educator and a coach versus a doctor or somebody who's trying to diagnose and cure somebody.
Right. Okay.
But I didn't feel like I needed to run that by anybody. I felt confident in the information that I was taught. I felt confident in the information that I was presenting. And so I honestly didn't want to say, hey, what do you think of this, to somebody who hadn't even been through my training.
Great. Thank you.
Because they don't know. A doctor that's been a doctor, a family doctor for 40 years didn't know. And the chiropractor didn't know. And the acupuncturist didn't know. And the dentist didn't know. And the holistic health nurse didn't know. What does that tell me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, it's more about our own self-confidence.
Okay.
We believe, yeah, here's the mindset work. Always comes back to mindset, right? Do we believe that the information that we have to share is a game changer? And I believed that. I believe that the information that I had to share with them made a difference in the lives of their clients, and it could make a difference in the lives of them as well. Yeah. Good question. So yeah, so I think I just covered collaboration with doctors and health practitioners. When we can reach out to them and go, hey, I know you don't have time to educate, your clients in this. I've got something specific. I've got a 6-week wellness program that could fill that gap. And really, that's what they want to hear. And this is where I'm going to dive more in depth in this on Thursday night. So I'm not going to go too in depth with this tonight. But that is absolutely one of the things that they were totally excited about, was that now they knew that they had somebody that they also developed a relationship with. Again, if it was a doctor that was kind of snobby, I wouldn't develop the relationship any further. All the people that I developed relationships with were very open, very welcoming to sit down and have a conversation with me. Even the integrative doctor, which I love working with integrative doctors because they have one foot in each world. So they know, they're not afraid to use meds when they need to, but they also know the value of having a healthy lifestyle. And they actually asked me if I would do the program at their office, and would I charge a lower rate if they printed out all the materials for their patients. So that's where, again, we come back to mindset. We have to believe that what it is that we have to offer is amazing. We have to believe that what it is that we have to offer is a game changer. Because when we present it, when we're confident, when we speak about it in a way that says, this is definitely going to help fill a gap for you. This is what it is. This is these are the results that your clients can walk away from. This is how it's going to help benefit you. It's going to take the pressure off of you of having to spend all that extra time educating. Then it's kind of like a no-brainer. It was an easy yes. I really actually never had one collaboration with any doctor that said, I don't even think that I want that. I even called the doctor on the phone. Surprised, I don't know how I got him on the phone. I just said, hey, I'm a health coach and I just wanted to talk with him about this group program that I had. He was a doctor that did work with stem cell, I guess, where they put that when someone's dealing with a lot of arthritis and joint pain and things. And he was referring people to me, and I only had a conversation with him over the phone. I think we get stuck in our head too much, thinking that we have to have all of the expertise, or we've got to have all of everything perfect before we actually go out and create these relationships. And we don't have to have everything perfect. We just have to have something that fills a gap for them, that we feel confident in and that we know that we can deliver value with. Yeah. Any other questions before we run on to the online nurture events? Ricky, how about you? I know you work in the medical industry right now.
I don't really have specific questions, but I've often thought to myself, how would I really approach someone, initially? And I think that I figured out, wow, I really have to have a specific program together, and I have to have, I listened to the ANH or the Advanced Nutrition for Health Coaches, and a lot of them were saying, they want to just access information via a website, or they need something, other than maybe a handout, to jog their, to say, oh, what are you about? What do you do? And, because they may not have time. And so to me, I'm like, oh gosh, I really have to make sure that have that all put together. So that's kind of.
all you have to do, seriously, you don't need to have like a major handout. Really, I mean, I took the 6-week wellness program with me in a book if they wanted to take a look at it. But really, I just sat down with them with a 1-page flyer and I said, look, this is what I teach. This is in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. These are the results that we focus on. And that was it. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out book. Not everybody went through the 6 weeks. I did that with the dentist, the chiropractor that I went to Panera with, because we had time and we went through it. And I'm like, here's the book. Feel free to look through it. This is what I'm doing. I would disagree with, or let me say this. My experience was that they don't have time to go to my website. My experience is that they really are not going to sell me to their clients unless they know what it is that I'm doing. You're right. But I'm doing that within the context of the relationship that we're having. They're not going to go to my website later and go, let me check her out. Let me see if she's real. They've had the experience. I've built the know, like, trust. I've built the relationship with them. I've given them the flyer. I've sat down with them and I said, this is what I'm teaching. This is what I'm about. And this is how it's going to help your patients. And this is how it's going to help you. That's enough. It really is. You don't need to like spend $1 gazillion on a fancy website. As a matter of fact, you really don't need a website in order to collaborate with people.
Okay.
And I know that is something that people differ about, but for me, my website is more of just like a business card. It's not what got me the work. I didn't even have a website for my health coaching component of it when I first started. I didn't need that to enroll people. What people want is they really don't want necessarily a website. They want an experience of you. They want to say, who is Ricky? Who does she work with? What does she do? Like, do I relate to her? How do I feel when I'm around her? Isn't that the Maya Angelou quote that people won't necessarily remember what it is that we say to them? They remember how we make them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we do when we have an experience like that, when we create relationships with people. They want that. And your clients want that too. Your clients want a relationship with you. They're going to want to know who you are, what do you stand for, do you get them, do you resonate with them, do they feel like they could actually have a good experience with you? They want to know all of that first. The website comes way later. And that's also how it's worked with my practice as well. How many of you found me through my website?
I can't remember.
Exactly. How many of you found me through my website? I do have a website. You're welcome to take a look at it. Some of you may actually have later, after you've had an experience of me, said, oh, what if she has a website? What does she do? What does she post on there?
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. The coaching world is very, very different. We're not a product. We're not selling a product. We're building and developing relationships. And we are serving people to enroll them into our programs. We're not selling them on a program. We're serving them with valuable information first, and that's where the workshop comes in. So there's 2 types of workshops. One workshop is an in-person workshop. The other workshop is an online nurture event, which is what we're doing right now. I'm delivering valuable information to you guys specifically in an online experience. This could look like also sharing with people, your top 5 ways to help women that are stressed out handle the holidays. It could look like your top 5 ways to help improve gut health. It could look like, whatever it is that you are serving your ideal client with, that's what an online nurture event is going to look like. It can actually be the same workshop that you use in person. You are just delivering it in an online format. And that's what this is. So this is an online format. If we were from the same town, I would do this in person where I could actually sit in a group. And typically when I do my in-person workshops, we sit in a circle. I like circles. I think that I don't like standing up on podiums. I like being in relationship with people. And so for me, circles are great. But if we were local, I would be teaching you the same information. I would be following my notes. You guys would have a handout of this, and we would be doing the same thing in person. But we live all over the world, and we live all over the United States. And so this is an opportunity. You give people an experience online from people from different areas to actually have a direct experience of you. So really doing both, doing in-person workshops and doing online nurture events are two of the ways to fill your groups, to fill your programs. Any questions about the online nurture events?
You use both Zoom and Facebook. Is that one better than the other, or one is like,
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah, when how do you pick and choose which one to do?
Okay, great. Yeah, great question. So the question is, how do I pick and choose between doing a Facebook Live or doing a Zoom event or doing a combination of both? So I really take a look at how can I create the most, again, for me, because creating accessibility and intimacy with my client is important. How can I do that the best? And I like for my online events, for an event where I'm doing a 3-day event, 4-day event, 5-day event, I like to actually have this type of interaction where I can see you, you can see me, I can hear you, you can hear me, you can ask me questions right away, and I can give you valuable feedback right away. So I prefer Zoom because of the intimacy and because of the direct interaction that I have. I also use Zoom in my workshops and in my groups. So, you know, when I do a group program, whether it's Launch Well, which is the 90-day program, or whether I do Activate Abundance, we meet and I serve my people in Zoom because I want them to have an experience of me live, and I want to be able to answer their questions right away. Now, having said that, I also show up in my Facebook group, and I do Facebook Lives, and I do that every Monday. So this is actually taking the place of my Facebook Live tonight, but this is actually being streamed to Facebook. So the people that are in my Facebook community, all of you abundant women wellness entrepreneurs that are watching this in Facebook land, are also getting the experience as well. What I don't love about Facebook Lives is that I can't see you, I can't hear you, the comments are delayed, I have to wait to actually read the comment and then respond. And it just is one step removed from the intimacy that I prefer to have with my audience and with my clients. Did that answer your question?
Yep, definitely.
Great, yeah. So online nurture events for me happen over Zoom, and I stream them to my Facebook group. Or I do another way that I actually build my community, build my audience, create value. Again, this is about creating value, is when I do a Facebook Live, I make a commitment to show up at a specific time on a specific day consistently. So people know that they can expect me now to show up around 5 or 5:30 every Monday with some sort of valuable training. So for your clients, you could show up on whatever works for you. Maybe it's Thursday at 5 o'clock or Thursday at 12 o'clock, whatever that looks like for you. But they could know, hey, Ricky is going to go live Thursdays at 12 o'clock, and she's going to share something of value. And the only way that we know what that value is by relating with our communities, by serving our Facebook groups, by building our Facebook groups and our Facebook groups need to be full of our ideal client. Our Facebook groups are not just, whoever wants to join my Facebook group, come join my Facebook group. Our Facebook groups are specifically to build and nurture relationships with our audience. And our audience needs to be filled with our ideal client because that is who we serve. For example, I had a couple of women that asked to join Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs. They were real estate agents. I don't work in the real estate world, so I didn't approve them to come into the Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneur group because I serve women wellness entrepreneurs. And real estate doesn't fall into that. They're not the client that I serve. So we want to build and grow communities with our ideal client so that we can learn from them what it is that they also most want to be served with. Again, this whole actually the whole Launch Well program came from building and growing a Facebook community and listening to what other health coaches were asking me for. This how to fill programs came out of questions that I got from my clients and questions that I got from my community. Your clients will tell you exactly what it is they want to know. That's the cool thing about running a Facebook group and that is, another way that I build and grow my business is I want to be in service with my ideal client. Yeah, and then so any questions before I go into the fourth way to actually fill your group programs, the 4 different ways? Trish, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, great. Any questions at all? Okay.
No, I think the only barrier I'm going to have is I work in healthcare too, and I have a wall where I can't work with anybody within a certain radius because I'd be considered double dipping. So that is going to be my collaboration barrier.
Okay. You and I have a call coming up. We're going to dive into that. So don't worry, we'll get that figured out. Even if you can't collaborate locally, there will be a way that you can collaborate online with people. Okay. We'll talk about what that might look like for your specific practice.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa, Diane, any questions before we move on?
No, nothing from me. Sounds good so far.
I love your questions. They're great questions. Are you sure?
Well, I asked enough.
No, they're fantastic. Your questions are great. I never, ever have problems with questions. I actually love questions. The more questions you guys ask, the better, because it creates
All right.
energy.
You know what? Here's one. Okay. When you hold your in-person workshops, do you provide them food, lunch to get those doctors in there?
That's a great idea. Okay. So no, I do not. No, I don't. And I actually stopped serving food even for the regular lay people, because what ended up happening with that was that I would have all of this great food and I would end up taking 90% of it home with me. And I'm like, why am I spending all this time and energy? Okay. So really good. Water always, or flavored water, like a sparkling water or something. I always have water there, and I have something, quick and easy. Maybe some carrots, maybe some hummus, maybe some, protein bars, maybe some roasted nuts or something like that. But I always end up taking it home. I end up spending.
Because a lot of times these, especially among like clinicians and professionals, the only way to get them to show up is to provide food. So if they're there without the food, then they really are interested.
Well, and I have not provided food for one. As a matter of fact, the funny thing, the doctor that asked me to come talk to his staff of 8, the digestive specialist, he actually made a joke because he ordered in pizzas for everybody that day that he had me come in and talk about eating well. And I'm like, really? I'm like, we've got to... talking about nutrition. Here we are ordering a Pizza Hut. Very interesting. But no, I haven't had to do that. Like, hey, let me buy you lunch. You could do that though. You could say, I would love to, bring a lunch into you and just kind of share with you for a half an hour or something.
I couldn't even get people to come to meetings they were getting paid to attend unless I told them that there was going to be food there. So
yeah, this is really where you are building, and this is where this is perfect because this goes right into reaching out personally and building relationships. This truly is not like having here, let me have a table, or here, let me, come here. This really is kind of reaching out and having a one-on-one experience with them. There was actually a holistic dentist in my area, and I actually just said, I'm just going to send them a Facebook message out of the blue and see if they might be interested in meeting. And I just said, hey, Dr. So-and-so, I am a health coach in the area, and I would love to meet with you and see how we could collaborate together. I have health coaching clients that would love to refer to a holistic dentist, and I would love to share with you what I feel like I could provide for your patients. And they were like, great. How about coming in next Wednesday? I'm like, awesome. So I went in, and it was a 20-minute meeting. We just chatted, and that was it. It was painless. But it does require reaching out personally. With every
Okay.
single collaboration that I had, it's always reaching out personally. So start with the people that you know. Start with the people that you know. Start with the doctors or the chiropractors or the health practitioners that you know, and reach out to them and say, hey, I've got this great program. I would really love to chat with you. I am a health coach. I've got clients that I would like to refer to you, and I would love also to share with you how I could serve your patients. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Okay. So this last part of reaching out personally by building relationships is another place that I see a lot of coaches falling through the cracks here. And what I want to say is, again, back to the formula of what a successful practice is. You need to invite your clients. You need to create offers in order to have a successful practice. One way to do that, and one of the ways that a lot of us can feel uncomfortable with, is actually reaching out personally. But this absolutely has to be a part of your practice. If you don't reach out to your clients and let them know how they can work with you, you are not going to have a successful practice, bottom line. I'm just speaking the cold, hard truth here. You have to be willing to reach out personally, build relationships with people, and let people know what it is that you have to offer. You have to invite them into a conversation, or you have to invite them into some sort of an experience. That doesn't mean that you have to jump on an hour-long discovery call. I have to say, I don't do discovery sessions anymore, and I still have a packed schedule of conversations. What I do instead is I build relationships with my clients. I serve them valuably with these types of events, with workshops, with online nurture events, and then I reach back out to see how I could help them move the needle forward. I also don't offer everybody an opportunity to work with me. And I really do believe that once we get the mindset around that we get to cherry pick the people that we work with, we don't have to accept every single person. That takes the pressure off us having to get a client. I have to get a client in order to make money, in order to have a successful practice. No, we don't need to get a client. We get to serve them, we get to give them value, and then if it feels right, and if it feels like a good fit, and if you feel like you could really help them, then you get to invite them into having an experience with you. But it's their choice ultimately whether or not they take that offer. It's not our job to convince, it's not our job to persuade. It's only our job to say, I hear you, I see the pain you're experiencing, I see that this is the transformation that you want. I can help you get from Pain Island to Pleasure Island. And these are the steps that I can take you through in order to help you get from Pain Island to Pleasure Island. I would love to work with you if you really want to work with them. If you don't want to work with them, then you don't create the offer. But we have to be willing to get uncomfortable. We have to be willing to be a stand for our clients and the transformation that they want to have. And people will not know what the offer is unless we actually personally invite them into the offer. So super important. So reaching out personally by building relationships is one of the foundations of building a healthy practice. It also builds a sustainable practice. It also builds a practice with ideal clients, with your dream clients, and it actually creates raving fans. It creates clients that love you, that know you, that like you, that trust you, that want to work with you, and actually that want to continue to work with you because they are served. They're not sold. Nobody likes to be sold to. Any questions about reaching out personally by building relationships? There are absolutely many, many clients that have been in my Facebook group, Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs, that I have offered my time generously to help them move the needle forward, whether it's with a 30-minute call or whether it's answering a couple questions. That's what I want to do. I want to help them create momentum and create traction. If after our conversation, I see that I have something that would really serve them, I'll circle back around and go, you know what? I think this would really serve you. I hear that this is where you are. I hear that this is who you want to work with. I hear that what it's costing you is this. I have something that I think might be a really good fit for you. Would you be interested in hearing the details with that? If they say no, no problem. That's not a problem. I still serve them valuably in the community. And honestly, I can tell you 98% of the time, people say, yes, thank you. And if I really can't help them, I'll tell them. You know, I have said before, you know what, in order for me to help you to be as a coach that is in integrity, in order for me to give you any more information with the questions that you're asking me, it would be better if we set up a 1-hour session or have a blueprint session or something. Because the information that you need goes into the next level. And I don't have enough information with just the questions that I've been asked to know how I can help her get from A to Z. And the information that I may give her may not serve her. So that's out of my own integrity and ethics, that I don't want to just be continuing to give out a whole bunch of free information all the time if I don't have background. I'm happy to share my best stuff with people, but if there are specific questions about how it would pertain to somebody's practice specifically, and I don't have enough of a background, then that's where, you know, for me to keep my integrity and to make sure that I'm serving them powerfully, I'm going to invite them into a conversation. I'm going to say, you know what, I would love to help you with this, and I need more time. I need to know what else is going on with you. The only way for me to really serve you is to hop on a call with you and see how it is that I could serve you. And you're going to find that with your clients too. Any questions about that? No questions? Okay, so just to recap, what we went over tonight was the framework, the core pillars that I use in building my practice, which is high touch, low tech, giving value and momentum, being willing to course correct, being authentic and available. And then we talked about the 4 different ways to fill your groups or programs. We talked about the power of in-person workshops, online nurture events, collaborations with doctors and health practitioners, and one of the most important things that get missed, which is reaching out personally, creating the invitation, making the offer, and building relationships. Tomorrow, we are going to dive into knowing your unique advantage and your ideal client. So this is important. We need to get really clear about knowing your unique advantage, what makes you different from all the other coaches out there, and knowing your ideal client. And then we will also go into what is the nurture event and creating a nurture event. So we're going to go more in depth into how to do what it is that I'm doing with you guys tonight. And we will also talk about why we use a Facebook group to do that. And then on Thursday, we're going to talk about more on how do we do collaborations locally, personally, but also how do we do that online. And you guys have this workbook already. So, and then here we go. In your bonus Q&A session, we will come back and pop on here on Friday for any questions that haven't been answered so far. All right, guys, so let me know before you go, what is one thing that you're taking away? What is one nugget that you're like, ooh, that was a juicy one? What's one thing that you learned tonight that you feel that you could implement in your practice or that you would consider implementing into your practice? I'd love to hear.
I have a bunch of people that I made contact with a couple months ago, one time, potential clients, and I never followed back up with them. So it's gonna be like, hey, we talked a couple months ago, and I've been thinking about you, and I'm wondering how you're doing. And, come up with some kind of way to reinsert myself into their thinking about their health.
Yes, beautiful. And we have a call too this week, so we will dive into that as well. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yes. So you'll absolutely have something on the other end to offer them with that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yay. What about you, Ricky? What is your nugget that you're taking away with? Oh, I can't hear you, honey. I'm sorry. Let me unmute you. Okay, go now.
Oh, yeah, that would help.
Sorry about
I guess it kind of keeps the question in my mind keeps rolling. Like, should I start to do this, which I guess we'll cover tomorrow night, start to do this nurturing with Facebook, now or wait till January? So those questions are popping up in my mind.
yeah.
And, and how to do it. And so that I don't be stressed out about wanting to start, but doing something simple so that it doesn't, I don't know, I'm thinking about the timeline for things. I'm thinking about building, and I guess takes a little bit.
Yeah. So what I would say, just in answer to that question for tonight, is go ahead and start now. There is no reason why you can't start now. It doesn't mean that you have to show up every week doing Facebook Live. You don't have to get into the nurture recipe yet, but you do need to start building and growing a community. And so I would do that now, so that when January comes around, you already have people that are there in your community that want to hear what it is that you want to share.
Yeah. Do you start that via your own, personal Facebook page by just putting posts, seeing who responds and who has success, or I guess not sure.
So what you do first, you create a Facebook group, and then you invite people. And again, your Facebook group is going to be for your specific. I'm just going to mute just the background noise for just a minute. Oops, that wasn't. Who do we have? That wasn't Ricky. I don't know what I'm hearing in the background.
No, it's not mine.
Okay, it doesn't matter. So first you want to create your group, and you want to name it something that goes along with your ideal client. So for example, Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs. That's who it's for. That's my group. Who do I serve? I serve women wellness entrepreneurs. So for you, you would want to create a group and name it something that speaks to whatever transformation it is that you're providing for them. And then you begin to invite people that you think that would really serve. You can send them a message and go, hey, I think I just started this group. I'd love to have you part of it. I think that this would really serve you. You can create, I know when I first started, I created a post on my personal Facebook page. And I said, hey, everybody, just wanted to let you know I'm starting this new group. It is for women wellness entrepreneurs. Join me over here. Here's the link. And I will share, I'm going to be sharing valuable content. I'm going to be answering questions. It's going to be a place where we can join together as a community and learn how to build and grow our wellness practices. So it's from there that then people would click on that link and come into my group. And then as people come in, when you are serving them valuably, then they're going to be inviting other people. So I've had several of my clients invite people that they know that this would serve as well. And so then it spreads on word of mouth. You can also, if you have a business page, create a post on your business page saying, hey, everybody, wanted to let you know I've got this new group over here. Here's the link. Come join me over here. It is for, and you're going to state, who is this for? It serves. This is who it serves, so that they know, who it is, who it's for. Like my mom and my dad, they're not in my Facebook Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs. My dad's not a woman, number one. Number two, my mom's not a wellness entrepreneur. So they're not my ideal client. They're not in there. But I absolutely have got several clients that I've worked with in the past and people that are in there, and lots and lots of health coaches, life coaches, wellness entrepreneurs, functional nutritional therapists that I've built relationships with, that then I've invited them into the group. It's totally free. It's like there's nothing to lose by being a part of the community. So really, again, it is reaching out, and it's just creating invitations for people.
So is that different from asking people to like your page?
It's very different. Yes.
Okay.
A page is not a group. A page is just a business page. It's kind of like a business card. A group is something completely different. A group is where you can actually interact with your people. You can actually have events. Anybody can like your business page. A group is where you serve just your ideal client. And so you approve who is going to be coming into your group. My mom and dad like my business page, but they're not in my group. I've got lots of family that likes my business page or likes my personal page, but they're not in my group because they're not my ideal client. So our groups are designed specifically to serve, to create value and momentum for our ideal client.
Do they have to be invited, or is there a place they can join?
They can, either way.
Okay.
They can join, but what I would recommend is that it is a closed group, which means that you have to approve them to come in.
Yeah.
And what you would do is you would ask, 3 questions to make sure that they're your ideal client. And so maybe that looks like, what is your current health struggle? What is it that gives you the biggest headache? What is, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you most like to have as a solution to this problem? What that does is it gives you an opportunity to also create research. What are your ideal clients looking for? What is their biggest headache? What is the solution that they want? So that then you can create content around that. And that content could be either a free PDF, it could be a free workbook, it could be just talking about, something on Facebook Live. It could be doing a nurture event like this. It could be a lot of different things. But it's important that we do ask them those questions so that we know that they are our ideal client and not, some guy from Greece that just wants to get in this group of women.
Yeah.
I think that happened to me earlier today.
Yeah, I've got a lot of weird friend requests, and I'm like, So I really do. Whenever anybody friend requests me, I always go to their profile and I scan who are they first. I want to know, are they real? 2 minutes, like, who are they? Why do they want to be my friend?
Yeah.
And if they are a marketer, or a multi-level marketer, I pretty much say, I'll send them a message and go, hey, I would love to have you join me over in Abundant Women Wellness Entrepreneurs if you're interested in growing a wellness practice. Yeah. These are all details. We will definitely get into this when we talk about the Facebook group portion of it this week.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Great questions. Great questions, though. But we will definitely dive into that more. So what's your takeaway, Diane? Did you tell me already?
Yeah, I'm gonna this week I'm gonna be reaching out to old contacts.
Beautiful.
And new contacts, but trying to make those personal one-on-one outreach.
What about you, Trish? What's a nugget that you're going to take away from tonight?
Mine is more of doing like the in-person workshops, getting out there and get in front of people, getting kind of seeing and the value that you said of growing and filling your groups by getting those people. So
yeah, awesome, cool. All right, ladies. Well, that is it for tonight. We actually went a little bit over, and that's okay. I always like to make sure that everybody's got their questions answered. So I will see you guys back here tomorrow, where we will dive into what makes you authentic, what is your unique advantage, and also ideal client. All right, ladies, have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.